welcome in to be our guest. And we are delighted today to have someone who is very innovative, Julia Maher, and she is doing Daisy's Senior Moves and Transitions. And this, when I first met you, I thought, wow. You know, they always say, find a need and fill it.
Yes.
And that is exactly what you have done. What ever made you get into, what is the business, first of all, and what made you get into this?
Okay. Well, I'm a Senior Move Manager. I am a member of the National Association for Senior Move Managers. And it's
I didn't know such a deal existed.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
It's
I learned
nice.
something new.
Yes, it's actually growing nationally. The National Association has been an organization since 1999. But here in the Montgomery area, there don't seem to be any other senior move managers. So when I moved here, I realized it was a need for the area. You know, it's a growing population. My grandmother, who's Daisy.
Right. I love that.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So my grandmother spent most of her life helping seniors. She was a distinguished Missourian, and she was part of the silver-haired legislature for the state. And I grew up with her as a great influence, and she opened a senior center in her town and used to take us along with her. So I naturally love to be around seniors, and they have so many stories to offer and wisdom, and I enjoy that.
But you also saw a need.
Yes.
And I find that so interesting. What do you do in your actual business of moving and transitioning?
Okay.
Why would it benefit me to hire you?
Well, moving at any age is physically and emotionally challenging.
Yes.
But for the senior population,
Very stressful.
Yes.
Yes.
For the senior population and the families that are involved, it can be quite an ordeal. So what Daisy's does is coordinates that whole. We're a full service company, start to finish, whatever your needs might be. So in the planning of the overall move, you know, deciding, you know, what movers you're going to use, floor planning for the next place, if that's what you're doing, wherever that next place may be. Because everything from your home will not fit in your next home, most likely. It's usually about downsizing. And and then I help with that downsizing process. I can help sort through lifetime full of belongings and deciding what to do with them. Donation, will some items sell, what will go to family members. So it's a time-consuming process.
It is.
And it's not just belongings, it's memories.
That's
so
right.
I can help with that, and I can be there as a support for people.
So a lot of our viewers are maybe in their 50s or 60s, and they've got a parent that's maybe up in their 80s or 90s and get ready for this. And like you say, it can be a very trying situation.
Yes.
Do they call you in and tell you? You come in and assess the situation, right?
Yes, that's
and
the
then
first.
from that you can give them an idea of what it's going to cost to use your service.
That's right. I start with a free 1-hour home consultation just to do, as you say, assess the situation, because not everybody's needs are going to be the same. And then I let them know what my services are, and they decide which of those they would like, and
like
it
a
often
cafeteria.
evolves.
Yeah, we'll take bing, 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 and bing.
Yes, and it evolves sometimes through the process, and then we go from there. Yeah.
Well, you can save a lot of time because it's stressful anyway. Like Jack said, a move is stressful, but it's so nice to have somebody who knows, like, well, who will take this or these items, and who will come and pick these up.
Right.
Yes.
You know, it's all of these things that are time-consuming to research, that you're going to have that knowledge at your fingertips. And you recently helped somebody just in transitioning with things that they couldn't do, like hanging their pictures or
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Sometimes I'm called in just for settling in services is what I call them, and that's to make their home more like home. And it can be hanging pictures, hanging blinds and curtains, anything to make things more at home. I've also been able to build furniture for people, which is a love of mine. Actually, some people don't like it. I love you know, the IKEA and the furniture to build, and I've enjoyed that as well.
Let me ask you a real key question, because a lot of our viewers that are watching this show, because this is a big military area, you know, folks have come in here and maybe their parents are back in Missouri or they're in Texas or they're someplace. Can they start with you and you then network them to somebody that does what you're doing? Because like you say, you're part of this big conglomerate.
Yes.
And obviously, does that conglomerate have services in just about every city in the country, or pretty close? Or?
We're getting there as a national association. And yes, so what I first do, and I've had that happen before, sometimes people call me and I'm not necessarily the person that can help them where they are, but I'll find somebody in the National Association to help them. There's a way to search, you know, on their website, and that's generally what I do, and I'll do the first outreach for them and let them know that that there's a need for their services. And that's the other thing. Sometimes I would do maybe the packing on this side, and then somebody else will do the settling in services on the other, the unpacking.
Good.
So,
well, I think it's wonderful to have somebody who is an expert in separating things. Just when I look at the whole room, but you can come in and say, okay, this will be a pile for this for this, and then organized packing, making things easier. We're all looking for that.
Right.
When is the best time to call you to get involved? Let's say I'm going to have a move or a transition.
Right.
I'm downsizing or whatever.
Well, I work well in both scenarios of whether it's a crisis mode, and that does happen.
Right.
Unfortunately, sometimes people don't know that there's going to be a move that's upcoming.
Right.
And I've been called in for a quick turnaround to help with that type of move. But the best case scenario is maybe if you're thinking about doing a move in the next few years, it is never too early to start that, whether it's just putting a couple, whether you call daisies or not, just starting for yourself, picking, and I always suggest starting with the least emotional, maybe the easiest project in the room.
And you'll come in and do a consultation?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much.
How do we get a hold of you real quick?
Well, you can reach me on my website, which is www.daisyseniormoves.com, or my phone number, which is 334-322-4509.
Okay, great. We'll put that on the screen.
Right.
Thank you so much. And just remember this, don't go through the hassle by yourself. Help is at hand, and we'll be right back right after this.